Finding a recipe is easy, but when it comes to the best recipe, the recipe that is going to blow the shoes off of my friends and family, I wanted to know which one is the best. So I went to find the best recipes on the internet, and so here we are. I cooked the 5 best recipes online. Now, these are the recipes Google have given me when I looked up pork belly recipes. These were the top 5. These are not my top 5, the first top 5. So they must be the most popular and favorite ones, right? The recipes will be a Filipino dish from goodfood.com, then an Asian style dish from foxyfolksy.com, a Chilean style that's cooked in the barbecue by sbs.com, and another Asian style from taste.com. And finally, the Golden Crispy by kirbycravings.com. It's weird that no American style recipes came up. I didn't add any ingredients of my own and I cooked and prepared as instructed. I rated the recipes from 1 to 5. My taste and background is going to be different. It's going to be a bit biased. I'll have a different flavor preference than you, I guess. But when it comes to general taste, I believe that popular recipes and really good dishes are generally loved by all. So, first up, a Filipino inspired dish by goodfood.com. The links will be in the description below. It has the marinade and also a spice vinaigrette, and we will be making it as it goes with the dish. With 1 kilogram of pork belly, cut into 1 centimeter strips. Slice your pork belly and place your pork belly strips into a large press seal bag. Add half a cup of light soy sauce, quarter cup of lime juice, quarter cup of vinegar, quarter cup of brown sugar, half a teaspoon of grounded pepper, 6 cloves of garlic, half a cup of water. Mix well and then refrigerate overnight. Remove the pork belly from the bag and transfer the reserve marinade into a small saucepan. Bring to the boil and then boil for another minute. Then remove the heat, then mix in a quarter cup of tomato sauce and a quarter cup of vegetable oil. For the spice vinaigrette, combine all the ingredients. A quarter cup of white vinegar, 2 tablespoons of juice, quarter teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of light soy sauce, half a small onion, finely minced, 2 bird's eye chilies, 2 cloves of garlic, finely minced, half a teaspoon of sugar. Mix well and then dissolve the salt and sugar. Allow to stand for at least 15 minutes before serving. Then heat up the barbecue grill on a medium heat and then grill the pork belly for about 5 minutes, flipping occasionally. Baste with the reserved marinade mixture and grill for a further 5 minutes until darkly caramelized. Serve with the spiced vinegar and garlic fried rice, if you have any. I didn't, I just made it with a basic plain salad. Now, this was the first time I marinated using water in the marinade. Also boiling the marinade to cook the meat. And it didn't smell very nice at all. Not until I cooked the meat on the barbecue. And then it smelled a lot better. The rates I gave it, ingredients 3. It was a lot. There was a lot of ingredients. And then the vinaigrette, and you wouldn't have everything at home. Instructions 3. There was a lot to do with the marinade and then the boiling on the stovetop and the barbecue grill. It was a lot to do. And the instructions didn't say what to do with the vinaigrette. Was I meant to put it on salad? Was I drizzle it over the meat? I drizzled it over the meat, and then I felt like it lost a bit of the flavor. I love the different ways to cook the pork belly. It was different, it was more fun than the traditional way of putting it on the barbecue or the oven and then after it's marinated. Taste 4. Like I said, the smell before the barbecue wasn't pleasant. I had like flashbacks when I was eating it. But the taste was something like a restaurant would serve. It had elegance to it. It had complex, it had layers of taste. First you could taste the vinaigrette with the juices, and then you could taste the meat afterwards. It was nice, it was pleasant. Number 2, barbecue pork belly by foxyfolksy.com. 2 pounds pork belly, or basically 1 kilogram pork belly. Combine all the ingredients. 4 large cloves of garlic, finely minced, 1 teaspoon of crushed corn pepper, 1/3 cup soy sauce, cup of brown sugar, a teaspoon of salt, and 1 teaspoon of chili flakes. Mix until the sugar is dissolved. Dip each piece of sliced pork belly, covered all sides completely, then place them in a plastic freezer bag. Seal and place in the fridge. Then let it marinate overnight. Arrange the marinated pork belly slices on a grill rack and then place it on the middle rack of the oven with another baking pan placed below it to catch all the drippings. Bake each side at 180 Celsius for about 20 to 30 minutes while basting the meat with remaining marinade every 10 minutes. Ingredients, I gave it 5. Most people would have most of these ingredients. So simple and so straightforward to put together. Instructions, 5, very easy. Anyone can do this as long as you've got an oven. The taste, 2.5. It was very nice. The aroma of the cooking was so nice. It was sensational. But after a few bites getting into the meat, all you could taste was soy sauce it was the base of the marinade. Next up is the Chilean. This recipe was from sbs.com/foods. This one was that Chilean style with like a handful of herbs. I was optimistic as I like to use a lot of herbs like paprika myself. Metrics of the ingredients is going to be way off, but I'll tell you what the measurements are of the instructions and what I did. Place 6 cloves of roughly chopped garlic with 1 tablespoon of paprika and 2 tablespoons of smoked paprika and 1/3 cup salt. Yes, it said 1/3 of a cup of salt. I thought that was ridiculous, that amount of salt. My heart couldn't handle that. Now it said 100 grams of oregano. Bloody hell, that's a lot. This was 10 grams. That's 10 times the amount I'd get in a bottle at the supermarket. So I really only put in 5 grams. 1/5 of what was instructed. Still thinking that it was way too much but I did it. And then 1/2 cup of cumin. What the hell are these metrics? And 50 grams of merquin, which is a Chilean spice, but it's basically smoky chili flakes. I couldn't buy merquin at the supermarket, so I just had to put in chili flakes. Slowly add 150 vinegar and mix. Now imagine if I put in 100 grams of oregano, 1/3 of a cup of salt, 1/2 cup of cumin into 150 milligrams of vinegar. The marinade would look like an oregano mess. So this will be a little different from the original recipe, but all the herbs are going to be the same, the instructions the same, besides the bloody 100 grams of oregano. Score the fat side of the belly and in between the ribs. This is what the instructions say. I didn't have ribs to cut between. Place it on a long baking tray. Pour in the marinade over the belly and rub it in well. Leave in the tray, cover and refrigerate overnight, or up to 2 to 3 days if you can. Ensure you bring the meat to room temperature before cooking. Remove the pork belly from the marinade. Reserve the juices for basting. Cook over coals or in a barbecue, not on the flame with the lid down. With low heat, around 150 to 200 Celsius for 2.5 to 3 hours. Starting meat side up, turning every hour or so to ensure evenly cooking. Now how I smoke my meat is in my beef eater, but it's a dual flame barbecue and I can smoke it with hickory. At this point I knew this was going to be the best one just because of the smell. That smoky, rich, sweet and dry smell in the air reminded me of traveling through Portugal and Spain. Baste regularly with reserved marinade. You'll want the pork belly to be golden. Instructions, I gave it a 2.5. It didn't say to use pork ribs as it said on the main part of the website. It didn't say that you use smoked chips or not. I ended up putting up hickory chips in my barbecue. The measurements were grossly overstated. The salt and the oregano, I didn't want to talk about it. I really hope it was a typo. Ingredients, 3.5. Most of the ingredients people have at home, though there is 2 different types of paprika, and then you have to bulk buy the oregano. Taste, I gave it a 4. Very tasty. I loved the smoke spicy taste, but it was a bit salty by the end. Like I couldn't eat the ends of it because it was just too salty. My girlfriend said my recipe was better, so yeah, isn't she cute? Number 4, it's another Asian style dish by Taste.com. On the side, it rated 4.5, and it smelt incredible in the oven. I was salivating. Place pork belly on a wire rack, rind side up. Using a sharp knife, score the pork belly rind so that it's evenly marked 1 centimeter intervals. Look at this. I totally screwed this one up. They're at 2 inches apart. Pour boiling water carefully over the pork rind. This is my first time I've ever done this. This is so I hope I didn't screw this up. Now, pat dry with a paper towel. Cool for 10 minutes. Meanwhile, combine 2 crushed cloves of garlic, 2 tablespoons of ginger, 2 teaspoons of Chinese 5 rice, 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/4 cup of hoisin sauce, 1/4 cup of dry sherry, and 1/3 cup brown sugar in a glass dish big enough to hold the pork belly as well. Place pork into the marinade, skin side up, and take care for the marinade not to get on the skin. Marinade uncovered for 3 hours or overnight, allowing pork skin to dry out. Preheat the oven to 180 degrees. Line a roasting pan with foil. Reserving marinade, place pork belly into a roasting pan. Brush the skin lightly with half a teaspoon of olive oil. Sprinkle with 1.5 teaspoons of sea salt. Roast for 45 minutes or until the pork belly is tender. Place under a hot grill until the skin is crispy and golden. Combine the reserved marinade and 1/4 cup of water in a small saucepan. Bring to boil and simmer uncovered for 10 minutes. Serve as a sauce on the pork belly. The instructions, I gave a 5. Very easy to understand and straightforward. I love the different way to put the skin to crackle, like with boiling it and then leaving it to marinate uncovered. It was a spectacle, but it really came out nice and I was impressed. Ingredients, I gave it a 3. Most people might have these ingredients, but not the Chinese 5 spice and that dry sherry. You'd probably have to go to buy it. You wouldn't be able to wing it. It's kind of like what I like to do. Taste, I gave it a 4.5. Flavor was very nice. I could taste the Chinese 5 spice throughout the meat, but it wasn't amazing. Maybe because I forgot to pour the marinade on the meat like a sauce, like it said it to do. So that's my fault. The crackling was spot on. Instructions gave me the best result for the crackle texture. If you're enjoying the video, please give us a like, as it will help other people see this video as well. Number 5, the golden crispy belly. This recipe is by Kirby Cravings. Mix marinade ingredients. That is 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/3 of a cup of rice wine, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 2 cloves of garlic minced into the bowl, and then pour into a regular pan that is big enough to hold the pork belly. Place the pork belly into the pan, making sure only the meat touches the marinade and the skin stays completely dry. Place in the fridge for several hours or overnight. Preheat oven to 350 Fahrenheit, bloody Americans, or 170 Celsius. Completely line the roasting pan with foil. Pour 1 inch of water into the bottom of the pan. Place the wire rack on top of the roasting pan to hold the pork belly. Place the pork belly on the wire rack. Spread 1 cup of salt evenly across the pork belly skin. Place into the top half of the oven. Bake for 40 minutes until the meat looks cooked. Remove pork belly and increase the oven temperature to 465 Fahrenheit, which is about 220 Celsius. The salt that was poured all over the pork belly should have formed a crust. Remove the crust from the pork belly. Wipe off any excess salt from the pork belly skin. Once oven has reached desired temperature, place the pork belly into the oven. Now, I didn't have the oven that goes up to 220 Celsius. It only goes to 200 Celsius. So I had to grill that last bit like I would have with the other recipe that I did, the taste.com recipe. Bake for another 30 minutes until the skin's completely bubbly and crispy. I stuffed it. I left it in a little bit too long and a little close to the grill. And I know some of you are like, oh, that looks perfect. I love the burnt bits. Well, I think there is a special place in hell for people like you. Nothing except marshmallows is meant to be burnt. Now let the pork belly cool for a few minutes before cutting it up and serving. Ingredients, I gave it a 5. Super simple. Instructions, a 4. Pretty simple, except for the Fahrenheit part, which annoyed me. And the fact that I have to have an oven that goes to 220 degrees. Yeah, maybe I'm just poor and I don't have a good enough oven. But then that's just me. Taste, a 2.5. It was nothing special. I know I ruined the crackle from the main part, but the marinade was pretty plain. I spent the same amount of time on a marinade on dishes that tasted totally different, and I couldn't really taste anything by the center of it. So the winner was, I think, that taste.com recipe was the overall best. It was simple to make, the ingredients were easy, and for what I did, the taste was the best. Except for the sherry, I probably won't have to use that ever again. Tastes like an ass. But the flavor was really nice, even without the marinade. As I stuffed it up, the dressing of it was just really nice, really tasty. Simple to make. You should have most of the ingredients, and the flavor was very tasty. I know there are heaps of recipes out there, and some will blow your mind off with the flavors. There's a lot of room for glazing the barbecue and other American styles, but these were the ones that Google gave me. I'm going to find the best one out there, and I would love your help. Until next time, thank you.